What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fight Week show, your favorite place to come for all things MMA, all things fighter interviews, recaps. We got it all here, and we're excited to bring you this kind of run and gun episode to recap these fights. UFC finally came back to London. How was that? Tell us about you went to the presser. That was a cool event.
That was a cool event, man. Thank you for that introduction there. That was a fantastic introduction by you, Andy. Yeah, it was a cool event to go to. It was nice to be able to be in and amongst it and see, see what it's all about, because I haven't actually been to one before. So it's definitely it's a nice event to go to, man. And we was able to be there flying under the banner of the Fight Week show down there, and yeah, man,
Yeah,
cool day,
representing.
cool day. Got to meet some cool people. We met up with Chanel Dyer, Molly Meatball's training partner, and yeah, we saw the performance that Molly Meatball came with the other day. We're gonna get to that as the recap goes on, but yeah, fantastic event to go to, man. Wouldn't change it for the world. Just wish I was at the fight, but you know what, the press conference was good enough for me.
Yeah, as soon as we get
I'm
this,
grateful for that.
as soon as we get this press pass thing worked out, we're gonna be able to bring more exclusive content from the actual events themselves. I'm excited for that part.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. You know what I
So
mean? Everything's a work in progress. We'll get there when when we get there. That's
yeah,
we can't
we
can't
got
really
we got
promise
all of
ahead.
the stamina. We got Max Holloway levels of stamina. So now we just need to wait for it to pay off.
That's it. Everything
So
is in the chamber, man.
for today's recap, we thought we'd do it a little bit differently than everyone's used to. Usually, we go through, we break it down. A lot of these fights happened. A lot of decisions happened. So I thought we could start from the top like usual, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say the fight that happened, and you give me your one sentence, like if you had to fit it into one sentence, the way you thought it would go, and then I'll do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. Let's
All
do
right.
this.
So for the main card, uh, that was a fight that I was very excited for, which is Curtis Blaydes versus Tom Aspinall. So how do you feel about that one?
Um, I was gutted for Tom Aspinall. I wanted more out of that fight. I've been here before with
Yeah,
with Ortega.
two weeks in a row. That is not good.
That's not good, man. For the main event as well, man. So I feel crushed that the fight went that way. I did pick Curtis Blade to win. Before people, what I mean. I picked Curtis Blade to win. If you go and check the stream yesterday, I picked him to win. He won by TKO. But I'm sure Curtis Blade, that's not the way he would have liked to win that fight. But you know what? Uh, it's still a win nonetheless. These guys come to win. That's a win for them.
You gave me more than a sentence there, but I'll allow it this time.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, we're gonna
I'll,
keep it.
I'll, I'll
We
forgive
gotta
you.
keep
This,
it.
I'll
We
forgive you
got.
this one time,
We
Scorpion.
got. We gotta keep it to a second. I was just emotional about that one fight there, man. Like,
So
come on, man.
if
Twice
I
in
had
a
to
row.
put that into a sentence, it's that I'm a big fan of Curtis Blades. I think he's an underrated athlete, and then Tom Aspinall. I think he's perfectly rated. He's coming up. He's the big name, and I was disappointed. I mean, what a way for two main events that are great main events on paper was supposed to be an absolute banger, and then we get about a minute in, and that's it. So,
Yeah,
nothing to
yeah.
say about that one except, like, just heartbreaking for the fighters, heartbreaking for the fans.
Disappointment, man. Disappointment is a good word for it.
The co-main, however, Jack Hermanson and Chris Curtis, that was pretty much how I thought that would go, to be honest.
Again, I'm disappointed for that fight because I expected more out of Chris Curtis. But it's it's what do you call it? It's a last minute check call for him. So I wouldn't be too harsh on him. But yeah, disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. there's a certain level of forgiveness when you're taking a fight and you're taking that on short notice. For the people that may have forgot, that was originally supposed to be Darren Till versus Jack Hermanson, which would have been the more competitive fight in my opinion. Obviously, it didn't work out. Darren Till had an injury, so we saw Chris Curtis, who is an incredible athlete, and the way he acted at the end of the fight for me was the biggest stamp on it, in that he seemed to be a very sore loser that night. And Jack Hermanson did have the perfect game plan, no matter what you think of it. Moving around and not getting hit while hitting the other person is the name of the game, and he did that well.
Uh, Jack Manson reminded me of how easy he's been fighting lately.
Yes.
Exactly like that. You know,
We need
picked
these
up on the
technical
outside.
guys coming out though, because we got a champion in Izzy. You know, the champions are all technical people. We need these fights to show us that, oh, okay, Jack Hermanson, he can step up. He can fight someone that's a tricky opponent at short notice, and he could put on a display, and that he did. So for the fight that came after that, that's the one that really everyone really wanted to tune into. That's Patty the Baddie. He's the guy with the personality making the splash right now in the UFC. Jordan Levitt, who I'm a fan of, I actually had him winning that fight, but barely. It was like a toss up for me, and he did show up. He looked good against Patty until he didn't, just like most of his opponents so far.
Yeah, that was a good fight actually. And salute to Dre. Dre broke down this fight really well.
I was
Uh,
watching and I was trying to understand some of the more complex grappling situations, and Dre was just on it, telling us what was
I,
going on.
I mean, the guy is phenomenal at breaking things down, and some of the things that I thought I knew about this sport. He taught me a couple cool things yesterday, and that's the whole thing about this. What we do here is learning, and
Yeah.
willingness to learn as well. And
This is
yeah,
not a channel that's afraid to say I'm wrong to a fighter. That's for sure.
absolutely not. And yeah, and again, he even thought Jordan was gonna win yesterday, but Paddy came on top. I thought Paddy was gonna win the fight. In the fashion
Yeah,
that
that's
he
no
did.
that's no knock on Patty that I had Jordan. That's more of saying how good I think Jordan is
Jordan
too.
is absolutely. But I thought the way um, Paddy trapped Jordan's arm in
Oh,
that
that
body
was
lock,
expert level
th-
of deadly right
that's
there.
craziness. I mean, to hand fight with two hands is one thing, and
We've
that's
seen
hard as it is.
we've seen BJ Penn trap someone's arm like that before and go for a finish. We don't
Yeah.
get to see that too often, but he
No,
had his
bro.
arm. I mean, he could have probably done a better job at hand fighting, but he just didn't have a hand to fight with.
No,
He
no.
made sure to take it out of play. So props to Patty. That
It's
was
excellent
that was
body.
probably the coolest finish yet.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it, and yeah, and that's why he came up with that 50 G's. Got that 50 G's, bro.
That's right. And the fight right before it that we're about to move to, that's Nikita Krylov versus Alexander Gustafsson, and that was not the way I expected it to go, but it was a good fight nonetheless, just like we thought it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy fight. I was wondering whether Gustafsson still got it, and he got a lot of love at the press conference. The fans loved him; they loved seeing him back.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but Nikita Krylov didn't care about none of that, man. You know what I mean? He came to win. He came to put that guy away, and that's exactly what Nikita Krylov did, man. He was vicious with it, but he looked like there was something wrong with his leg. He was
Yeah.
walking so weird, and then he still got the finish. I don't know what the fuck happened, but hey,
It was like watching a beautiful car crash. It didn't last very long, but
no,
what we got to see was intense. I mean, we're talking a minute and 7 in to the first round.
yeah,
That is not how I expected that fight to go. I thought there would be a finish just a little bit later in the fight, but yeah, I think there's levels to this. I think there's levels to this, and Krylov just showed what he's about.
yeah, absolutely. No, tough opponent for Alexander Gustafsson. It's a one thing I like to see was that he didn't hang his gloves in the octagon. because I thought that might have happened yesterday, but it didn't happen. Maybe they're gonna give him one good fight, one winnable fight. A good fight.
Yeah, he's faced killer after killer after
Yeah,
killer.
man. You know what I mean? I think he deserves that swan song sort of fight to go off into the sunset with, and hopefully can get a win from a fight like that.
Moving on to women's flyweight, an incredible matchup. We got Molly Meatball McCann, the Scouser herself. She came up against Hannah Goldie, and I was very excited for this fight as well. Not just because of the hype that surrounds her being a Scouser, she's on the Patty card, all of that adds to it. The UK, I have a special place in my heart for the UK, as you already know. I watch basically nothing but British television.
Yeah.
That's like what I was raised on. That's why, by the way, if you guys were wondering why I don't have any problems understanding Scorp, is I his accent is more comfortable to me than my own sometimes. So like with this fight, I was excited for it because at women's flyweight, we got a dominant ass champion. And we need these girls to come up and start getting finishes because the one great criticism that you can say is founded with the lower divisions for the female fights is less finishes typically. You'll see a lot more decisions scrape by, but not Molly Meatball McCann. She goes in there to finish the fight or get finished, and she walked into the fire. She threw, and then she landed another devastating spinning elbow and just finished it with vicious hooks. What do you think about that one?
Bro, that was brutal, brutal. I thought Anna Goldie. I mean, I was looking at the way her muscles are built and stuff. She is built like a brick, bro. I mean, the
She
traps
has
on her,
traps that you could climb up. I
bro,
could I could hang out on those traps and die from lack of
it's
oxygen.
crazy, man. But Molly came in there with bad intentions and bad intentions only, bro. And she
Yeah,
got the
Molly
job done.
showed what happens when you got all of that skill put together already. It doesn't matter if you're going up against someone who looks bigger, who looks meaner, who looks better, who looks stronger. All that matters when you get in there is skill, and that's what she showed us.
Yeah, she absolutely did, and she's strong, man. I saw a lot of training videos leading into this fight. I build up videos because I mean keeping an eye on Chanel Dyer as well. Because I follow them both. If you're not following them, I don't know what you guys are doing. You need to
You're
go.
missing out.
You need to go and follow these guys, man. And yeah, the way she's eating meats, I mean, bro, she is vicious, and she's gonna knock some more people up, some more people out along the way. Like you said earlier on, just before I finish real quick, like you said earlier on, it's one thing that's been a criticism of this the female division. There's not enough finishes, and Molly is bringing that to the division.
So, in my opinion, she deserves all the credit that she's getting, all the praise that she's getting. This is going to be good, and I love female fights. I love the women's divisions. I love 125. I love 115. I love 135. Nunes is my female goat. You know, she has the 145 belt right now. We're about to see her coming up this next fight. She's going to try to get that back off of Pena, who is an amazing fighter. So I feel like the women's divisions are actually looking better this year than last year in a lot of ways. You know, the champions were tested. Amanda Nunes was tested and beaten. Valentina Shevchenko, she was almost beaten. She was shown, hey, she can be beatable. And then you get someone like Molly McCann in there. It starts getting exciting. Someone you know is going to bring the fight to someone like the champion. Then that's next level. This next fight, I'm putting off a little bit. The light heavyweight fight, it's only because it gutted me. I'm a big Paul Craig fan. I love the Bear Jew. He's
Same here,
been
bro.
amazing. He scares me like half the fights that I watch because he's getting his ass beat until he just pulls that submission out of his ass. I love Paul Craig, but Volkan Ozdemir, that's how you say it, right?
Yeah,
Ozdemir or Ozdemir?
Uzdemir. Well, that's how I call it, Uzdemir.
Yeah,
But don't ask me.
Ozdemir. So
I butcher people's name on the daily,
yeah,
man.
I usually just say Volkan because I can pronounce that one.
Yeah,
So I think that he is an incredible talent. It doesn't surprise me at all the way the fight went, but I was hoping that Paul Craig would show his thing again. So that one got to me.
Yeah, that definitely got to me as well. I'm a Bear Jew fan. I was going nuts for him during the press conference. He barely stepped on the scales before he went to confront No Time Volkan.
Yeah,
Before he went to confront him during the weigh-ins, and you know, the way he approached the fight, I thought he could have done better looking for the submission because he was having success on his feet. So there was no
right. Yeah.
reason to look for the submission as much as he was looking for it. But he got tired trying to chase that submission, trying to chase that finish, and I think that's why Ozdemir came back, in the third and just
That's
and
that's
just
the
took.
problem with having a fighting style that's based off of endurance like that. It's that if you don't get that bounce back where your opponent gets tired, you lose. And I think we saw that a bit with Max Holloway and Volkanovski. We saw Max have the same game plan. I'm going to pressure you and break you, and Volk just kept going and going and going, and he didn't have a breaking point. And that's when you can. Now it's like people are getting their cardio up because they know the way to beat these fighters is to get ready for those long fights.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Unfortunate for Bear Jew, but I'm sure he'll be back.
that was the entire main card. Now the main card was solid as it comes. I feel like that was a great main card
Loved
from
it.
top to bottom. It was spectacular. There was a lot of great fights, a lot of great finishes. And now to talk about the casuals' worst nightmare, which was the prelims. Lots of a grappling heavy card. It was a perfect card to have Dre the Dragon on.
Yeah, he was loving every bit of it, man.
And
He was loving
and
every
I
bit.
joke, I love grappling. I understand that's a part of MMA. Our more casual counterparts will say that was a boring display, but we did see some incredible grappling feats on that opening card. It surprised me that they didn't go for it more, given the atmosphere. I thought we are going to really see the prelims like just a bunch of car wrecks, but
Yeah,
it was still top to bottom, still a good card overall. But
no, that's all.
we got out of all those fights, we got one finish, and the rest were decisions on the prelim.
Yeah, man. But sometimes, that's how it goes. It was never going to be like it was in March, when from early prelims all the way to the main event was
Yeah,
finished
you can't
down low.
expect those every event is a finish type of cards
I
every
mean,
time.
lightning can't strike in a bottle twice, but you don't matter how hard you try. But that's just one. That's just how it is. MMA does not. It never adds up. Never adds up. Expect the unexpected every fucking time. It's what I'm
That's
trying to say. I
and
know.
if that isn't the tagline of this show, ladies and gentlemen, expect the unexpected, because that's true for us and that's true for MMA. You
Yeah.
can never know what's coming, so don't even try. Just
Yeah.
sit back and watch the show. Talk about it afterwards.
Got you. Yeah,
So we
man.
the first fight that we got was the lightweight fight, Mason Jones, Klein. That was the head of that card, of the prelim card. So, what were your thoughts on that? It went to a
Yeah.
decision, but
I thought. Yeah, I thought
great
it was a really
skill.
good display. I thought it was a really good display from Ludovic Klein. Um, to be fair, I did have Mason Jones winning it, but very good fight from Ludovic.
Yeah, I feel like that was a great display. Um, Very good fight from Jones. Klein definitely pulled that, and I think we can move on to the next lightweight fight, which was Mark, and I can never say his last name
Yeah,
properly.
Akise.
Yeah, so say that one more time for me.
Mark the Akise.
God bless you.
Thank you,
So
sir.
Damir, and how do you say
Yeah,
Hadzovic?
yeah, Damir Hasovic.
Hadzovic. Okay, I got that one right. I
Yeah,
actually knew that one. Hadzovic. I practiced a little bit. Mark, I try to say the Ikes or something. I don't know where I got that from,
yeah,
but I
Mark
always
the
mess his
Akise.
name up. But that was a great fight too. That went to decision. That surprised me. I really thought we were going to see a finish in that one.
I thought I was gonna say finish as well. Mark got a lot of criticisms from the commentary board with especially with Bisping, saying he should have chased the finish a little bit earlier in the fight. But
But
we
I
know
understand you need to win. In MMA,
ex,
when the W makes you more money for your family than the big victory. So I understand
exactly.
coming off a loss why you'd want to play it safer, get that victory, and then go back to putting on those exciting shows.
And that's what John Gooden on the commentary was trying to explain to Bisping, that you know what, because he's kind of been on a losing streak. He just wants to get that W and get that streak going. So it was difficult for Mark Diakise, but nonetheless a win. And we move on. Hopefully, he's gonna shower us with much better displays, because we know he's got finishes in his back pocket. He's got it in the toolbox, and he just needs to let loose and start letting some of them hands go again.
Yeah, I agree. And to move on real quick, we're just going to brush past the featherweight. Nathaniel Wood, he won a decision over Charles Rosa. That was a great fight. Both are very, very skilled fighters, but Nathaniel Wood definitely won that fight. There's not a whole lot of ups and downs to talk about there.
Let me just say this one thing: Charles Rosa is tough as hell. The amount of times he got
He has a
dropped in that
chin.
fight, oh my god! It reminded me of Match Snell from
Yes,
last week's fight.
that was one of the
Crazy,
craziest fights I've ever seen in my life.
crazy,
Yeah, so
crazy.
the reason we moved on from that one is we had another featherweight bout with Jonathan Pierce and Amir Khani. And that was the only finish that we had on that prelim card. That came in round two, 4 minutes, 10 seconds. We got to see the finish there. We got to see the KO. Did that go the way that you thought it would be
Um,
with Pierce picking up the W?
I actually thought Americano was gonna win. I picked him to win, but Jonathan Pierce, he came in with a good game plan, executed his game plan, and he got 50 G's for it. Congratulations to him.
Yeah,
Get that
big
finish in
step
the
up, big
yeah,
performance on a big stage.
and
I had Americani winning too, by the way, but Pierce had a great game plan, like you said.
yeah, he came with that game plan, executed it to a T, and the fact that they kept calling him JSP was winding up Michael Bisping, which I found very very funny. Uh,
Yeah,
it sounded like GSP, and we know what GSP did with Michael Bisping.
yeah,
So
that's so funny to me. For another a flyweight bout, man, Muhammad Makayev,
yeah,
he's been looking sensational recently. That is a great matchup. A lot of people have been calling for him to clash with one of the friends of our show, El Jefe, the boss
yeah,
himself of 125. That
yeah,
would be an exciting fight because we know El Jefe can wrestle. We saw that in his last fight. He doesn't get taken down and stays down, and he throws hands. That would be an insane fight to make.
100%, 100%. I mean, Mokaev is like he's the darling of the nation. A lot of English fight fans adore him, and that's because of his story as well.
Yeah, you have
Cool,
a
cool
good
guy.
story with the skills to match it. That's what MMA can get behind. I've seen.
Oh yes, absolutely, and he'd probably be disappointed with how the result was, because he came in to finish that fight early. Um, Charles Johnson is a tough, tough, tough individual,
Well, that's the
and
thing is I have
didn't
to
make it
say
easy for him.
Adrian Yanez said that if there was going to be an upset, he thought it would be Charles Johnson getting the upset because he had such a high opinion of him as a fighter, and
He's
I
a
didn't
tough guy.
agree. But going into that fight, he really did give him a tough
He's,
test.
yeah, he's a tough, tough guy, and because usually Mokaev just walks through these fighters that's big, that gets put in front of him, and Mo
But
just mows away.
yeah, but it's good to see someone get tested like that. That's not used to being tested to hit that wall and be able to push and push and push. Now we know he can drown motherfuckers at this division, and that
Yeah,
makes him a dangerous guy.
very,
Because
very
at
dangerous.
125, the output is always insane.
is high. They don't stop. I keep asking myself, how do these guys even breathe?
Yeah, you
You know,
gotta. They basically don't. You just gotta hold your breath for 25 minutes if you want to fight at 125, because
yeah,
it's gonna be a cardio fest. So at
insane,
lightweight,
insane.
we had Jai Herbert versus Kyle Nelson. That was a great display as well.
Yeah,
It went the way that I thought it would go.
yeah. These two are riding like free fight loss streak. So one of them needed to win because it was going to be
Hmm.
very, very bad consequence for the other that didn't win. And I'm just glad that Jai Herbert is the one that's on the that's on the winning side,
Me
and
too.
they can
But I
breathe.
also he earned that. He showed up. He came to fight, and he grinded out that victory. So I'm glad he's the one that's going to stick around, and I think we're going to see. I still think we're going to see really good things from him coming up
Yeah,
next.
I believe so too.
Lightweight is endlessly stacked. It's not quite as stacked as 135 or 145, but lightweight is getting stacked with all this these new talents and prospects. There's so many good fights to be had there.
Yeah, man.
So then we're on to women's flyweight. We got Mandy Bohm versus Victoria Leonardo. Uh,
Yeah,
that was a banger.
it was. There's a lot of back and forth with those two females. They gave the fans a show. I always thought it was going to be decision, and a very, very good win there from Victoria Leonardo. Um, I had Mandy Bomb to win, to be fair, but Victoria Leonardo, she pulled it out of the bag and got the job done. Uh,
Yeah, I felt like that was a close fight. I had that pretty even going into it. I didn't pick one way or the other because it was such a close one. And yeah, it was a good fight to start that card off. And the one right before it is a fight that I actually was excited for. I'm a big Nicholas Dalby fan. He's a violent motherfucker in a sport
is
filled with violent
it
motherfuckers.
really is.
He
It
sets
really,
himself apart. He walks forward. He bites down on his mouthpiece. We don't see that type of fighter too often anymore. So
no,
when you see a guy that can do that well, it's always a hell of a show. So he took on Claudio Silva, and that was to kick off our fights yesterday. And that fight, I feel like that was more grappling heavy than a lot of people expected. And because of that, we saw not a lot of back and forth on the action to kick the card off, so it gets a bad rap. But it was a good fight. It was solid grappling, and it was a good ass fight all the way through.
yeah, that fight for me, I consider that fight the fight of the night. I thought there was a lot of back and forth going on there. These two brought it to each other. A lot of
And Dolby is tough as a son of a bitch.
it is tough, bro. He's tough. I did not see him coming back the way he did there and getting the W, but fantastic,
I
fantastic
felt like that was fight of
for
the night
Derby.
too, because that was a perfect way to kick off a card that you want to set a gritty.
Yeah,
This is gonna be a brawl kind of card. That was
yeah,
a good fight. I just feel like when you see the grappling mixed in, fights tend to get bad raps. But we're not watching Muay Thai. We're not watching kickboxing. We're not watching boxing. It would be boring if they just stood there and we saw if two wrestlers or two jujitsu guys could just throw down in a parking lot. Like that's not what MMA is about. It's about using your strength to beat the other guy at his strength.
that's
That's
it.
what it's
You
always
got
been about.
It's always about imposing yourself and imposing your game plan as well. Not just imposing yourself, but imposing your game plan, and listening to your corner, and you put all of those things together. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be near victory. At least your corners, your coaches, and the people that prepare you for the fight are going to be very, very happy with you, regardless of the results. So it's just what it's about, and I love this fight. I thought it was fight of the night. They just brought the violence, man, and yeah, hopefully we get to see
Yeah.
what what's in store for those two guys very, very soon.
And we've hit our goal of keeping it under 30 minutes to do
Yeah,
this recap.
yeah,
Sorry,
we hit that
sorry
goal.
this one was so fast. We just have some things going on in the background. You know, life gets crazy, so we really appreciate everyone who tunes in to watch this and that always is constantly supporting the recaps. You know, like, share, subscribe, comment, anything you could do. All of that helps. I'm Front Kick Andy. You're gonna get to know me better. I'm gonna be on camera more often. I'm gonna get a better camera too. So we're working on that.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome to be here with Ola, the man, the Black Scorpion himself.
Thank you very much, my bro.
We're signing off here as the Fight Week show, saying we'll see you again next fight week.
Hasta la vista, salute.